We are live. All right. So what's been going on since last we talked?
What's been going on? Anything new? Nothing new on my, well, same. Just analyzing the webinar stuff and trying to figure out. Definitely raising price is one of the things that we're gonna do. Test that out. But yeah, what about you guys?
Hey, Josh.
Hey.
Let's see. So I ran the webinar. I ran a webinar to my list. It was not a very highly planned webinar. It was the same one I was doing to the Bright Live. We talked about this before. I figured might as well just run it. I was in a bit of a rush though, because my timing with the travel and stuff, I didn't have exactly the best frame of mind for running the webinar, but it still, I think, went pretty solid. And the pitch at the end was a little shaky just because I hadn't done, and when I did the webinar for the Bright Live stuff, the pitch was they got a free 15-minute call with me, and then that was basically.
How long was the webinar?
It was about an hour and a half or so, maybe 45 minutes. It had a lot of, there was 54 people, I think, and then within an hour and a half in, there was still 51 people left. So
that's really good retention. But
yeah.
The offer was a 15-minute call with you?
Well, I made the offer for this one. That when I had done it before with that Bright Live network, I made they basically got a free 15-minute call for joining the webinar.
Wow.
And then for this, what I did was I sold an offer for $3K, basically $2K off of the regular price, of $2K discount on there. So got and then there was some bonuses, certain number of people would get, 3 people would get a free 30-minute call with me, that had purchased. So coaching calls. So we're hoping to get more people, but we end up getting 2 sales right from there, which is not horrible for for the webinar, but
that's 4%.
What's that?
That's 4%.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, I'd like to see 10% on there, but I mean, considering
if it's a live, yeah, you should be able to do much better, especially if you're retaining people. If you have 50 people who are watching the offer, you should convert anywhere from 5 to 8 people on that.
Yeah. How long did you stay after the offer dropped to answer constant questions from people to answer the objections?
Yeah, for probably about 45 minutes after. So people didn't really have objections with the offer. They're just asking more questions and stuff. I tried to ask, what kind of questions you got, what's holding you back from buying right now? What can I answer for you?
Yeah, it's so much better to have a structured presentation, man, because it
oh yeah,
it always delivers. There's no reason why you would not do that. It always delivers.
Yeah, this was just kind of a test because I had done it for the Bright Live and it worked. And with Bright, I couldn't do slides, so.
Oh, they don't allow slides?
Yeah.
Really?
Because they're not really a webinar platform. They're more of a meet celebrity. Justin Bieber was on there and stuff like that. It's a celebrity, it's an event. You sell tickets to a live event, basically. But I used it for this purpose. But that's also the difference there too, is I only had 20 or something people on that one, but they had all bought tickets for whatever it was, $30 or so.
Yeah, there's a lot of difference. So you can't really match that data to this data. But having a presentation definitely helps you be more strategic, because otherwise you can get off track so easily. And then the pitch, they can't see the pitch, unless you can't even present the stack. They can't, all those things are very vacuous to them.
Yeah. We also don't know, because it came from the email list, how many buyers were even qualified at all potential. It's because a lot of people.
But that's just the nature of any kind of webinar. Numbers will kind of fall in that category. There will be, out of the people who are watching the webinar, or at the offer time, you should have anywhere from 10 to 15% closing because there will be a lot of unqualified leads and all those things as part of the
Yeah.
deal.
So, but what I'll do in the future is I'll revise it and put some actual slides together. Now that I've tested it and see, okay, this works, and then it may be something that, I'm still talking to Tim about this, but I'm leaning towards me not closing on the webinar, but pushing them to the sales team, just because I think we'll get a higher number. I mean, and I might test it out. I mean, it's pretty good that I got 2 3K closes. I mean, for me to close 3K sales price on webinar is pretty good. I would say. I mean, that's
that's like the highest it's ever been done, on a webinar. It's like around 3K.
Yeah.
So that is pretty impressive in my mind.
Yeah. So that in itself is not. Yeah, that in itself is not bad. So we'll see. I think sending to a sales call might be better. So I'll probably do another one, have some revisions to it, and then send people to a sales call, see how that comes up, and then I might try again, closing the 3K with a real good stack at the end. Go through the full expert secrets, perfect webinar and get that set up. But yeah, I just kind of want to try this out because it was just a simple. I already had the outline for it. I'd already given it twice, so I was like, okay, there's no reason why I shouldn't send this to the email list and then just go through what I already done for the Bright live session to see how it performs. So
yeah, if you do a live, like if you send them to a call, you can even get up to 20 to 25% of people taking you up on the call.
Yeah. Now there's follow-ups, right? So everyone who was registered, right? There's some emails, follow-ups. Obviously, the replay went out, and then there'll be some follow-ups. What Tim's going to do for a lot of the follow-ups after the replay, he said the replay one, obviously, where people will be pitched on there, but is then get them to book a call. So people that didn't buy, he'll be sending out emails saying, okay, if you want to talk about this more, let's jump on a call. And then that would go through the sales team.
Did you mainly get these people from your email list to come to the webinar?
Yeah, this is purely from the email list.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So they were semi-warm then.
Yeah. These were not like straight up cold leads.
No, these are warm.
Where do you think you need to improve the webinar the most?
I mean, the entire thing. It's just literally like I was just flying by the seat of my pants. I mean, I had an outline, right, of what I had given before and some examples, but they were rough, right? The more the value was in the Q&A part. I mean, people got the idea when I showed the example of, I brought up a compound interest calculator, and I went through the examples. I was like, okay, look, here it is, 15 years, all right, and this is the amount that you're putting away. This is like, I showed that you can't become financially free and that you need a higher return in interest rate, and people got that part of it. But I don't have any slides. I didn't have any, so I can definitely take that exact outline and then come up with a much better version of it, where it's just a lot more clear and concise. So
dude, just do expert secrets and you'll be so much better off.
Yeah. Because I know what to do now, like in terms of the story of the, it'll be easy to go through and do the expert secrets version of it. So
I like the Fladlin's webinar outline the best, personally.
Which one?
Jason Fladlin, isn't he the perfect webinar?
No, that's Russell Brunson.
Oh, you guys know Jason Fladlin, right?
Yeah, I know Jason, and I like Russell's better than Fladlin's. That's his. Did you buy his course or his book?
I went through his book, and I found his course. I didn't buy it. I found it.
Oh, okay.
It was just on a website. I just found it.
Wow. Well, the course was like what, well, now it's like what, $1,500. Yeah. So I don't know about his outline, how he explains in the course, but in the book, yeah, I like Russell's better.
But yeah, I'm trying to think if there what else I had going on. I mean, that's the big thing that I'm focusing on, trying to get. I need to get a bunch of reels created. It's hard because I'm traveling now, but I brought my camera equipment, so I'm going to record a bunch of reels So I can get that over to Mike so he can do 2 a day. And then we've been going through, I've got this video that I did on financial, on like basically the ultimate guide to real estate investing. And I recorded that a while ago, like 3 weeks ago, with the new camera equipment. It's like a 25 minute video, but I have Mike editing. I'm using Frame to do actual revisions on the video. So this is like the 4th pass of the video of me giving comments, and then the YouTube coach, I'm using Michael giving comments on it. So by the time that, I think we got maybe 1 or 2 more passes, by the time that this thing is ready to go out, it's going to be super, super high quality. So we'll see how that does. I'm real curious to see, you know, if having a super concise, high quality, well edited piece of content, if that takes off or not. So
for your shorts or reels or whatever you want to call them, TikToks, if I might come back, that's a thing.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyways, do you have like a basic format you always follow? Is it like powerful hook and then like 3 points, or you kind of just wing it? Like, here's a topic, I'm just gonna wing on it.
Yeah, I kind of, I mean, I try to come up with a good hook at the beginning, but aside from that, I don't really have a format for it. There's a few different kind of things that I do sometimes, right? Like sometimes I'll do like 3 things, or even like in longer lists, like 9 things. Then you can just really just huge amount of value and impact in there. But usually I'll start off with some kind of hook and then go into the topic. But I'm gonna start fleshing out the design for them a lot more once I want to get a buffer set up so that we start doing 2 a day, and then focus more on having them more scripted out. So
okay. That sounds good. Yeah, I kind of like, I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like I have decent ones that, you know, I've done it so many times, but I don't know. Like, I was really creative on TikTok actually, and with the shorts, I'm not being creative. I'm just kind of like pumping them out.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways.
You guys running ads already, John?
Yeah, we just turned ads back on. So we just turned on this morning, in fact. So now that we've got the sales team, we got salespeople on. So basically the way it works is they get in fact, I just saw one come in, they get a well-programmed lead form from Facebook, and then we've got 3 salespeople, and then whoever grabs it first, puts their name on it, whoever calls them first owns the lead. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully these salespeople jump on these leads, and
so they'll set and they'll close.
Yeah, and that's how it's working on with the other sales team right now too. So at some point, I mean, I think like the whole idea behind the setter with the sales team is that at some point you have you know, you get to a point where the lead quality that you're getting, it's not worth wasting the good expensive closers time, right? Because so that's where the setter comes in. And so I think starting with a setter is not always the right move to do. I think you start with closers that do the setting, and then when you get to the point where it's not worth their time, you get a setter. And because a setter is a low value position, like you don't have to have any sales skills, you just need to really follow a script in order to do that. So I was working with Gregory, one of my coaching clients, on helping him set up he's doing his own sales for his high ticket program. So and he was actually just setting the calls through text, which worked totally fine. You know, at some point he'll probably get a setter in place, but he was just texting them and then talking to them a little bit, and then setting up the closing call. So, but we'll see. I would love to make one sale from paid advertising.
That's your goal right now, is just for the first sell?
What's that?
The goal is just to get the first sell right now?
Yeah, then at least, I mean, if I have one sale, then I know that we've got something that's actually working. Then
Concept, yeah.
we can tweak it and figure it out, but I just need to see it work.
Are you guys still sending it to the inverted funnel? Like no opt-in? No, there is a Facebook lead.
Yeah, there's Facebook lead form, so we collect the email address there. So
And then they watch the video?
then they watch the video. Yep. And that takes them to book. They can book a call straight from there. Some people don't book a call straight from there, right? But they can book a call straight from there.
So the lead form, as soon as they submit it, takes them to the video page.
Yeah.
Nice. Interesting. Yeah, good luck with that. Make it work.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I should have some data in the next couple of days. So.
Cool.
Let's see if there's anything else that really I was working on. I mean, mostly it's those things where I'm hiring an email person to take over Zare's job now that we've got the email system down in place. So I think that should, or I'm actually having a Zare hire him, so and then train that person. So
Okay.
I'm hemorrhaging coaching clients like crazy, like everyone's dropping. And I think that's because a lot of my coaching clients are software developers and massive tech layoffs, right? Also just the
Like you're getting
economy.
like refunds, like that's what you mean?
No, just coaching clients are just dropping off. Just they're like, okay, I need to cancel
These
coaching.
are ongoing monthly payments.
Yeah. So, but in a way, it's like it's a good thing, because at least I'm looking at it as a good thing. It's because even though the coaching is good, I never liked having a large portion of my revenue coming from one-on-one coaching for a couple of reasons. One, because it does make me nervous every month when there's like 15 invoices at the beginning of the month, and it's like people take days to pay them, and it's stressful. So I
Why
don't
aren't
like
you
that.
auto billing them?
Some people, they have to opt in for auto billing on the coaching. So
You don't put them on auto bill?
not with my invoicing system. I'm using Wave to do it. It doesn't have a thing to force them into the auto billing. Like I could set up in Kajabi, I suppose,
Yeah.
for new people coming in and put them on
Yeah,
auto
why
bill,
would you
but-
even try it? Like that itself sounds like so much headache to follow through with
Because a
people.
lot of times people, the coaching is on a month-to-month basis, and they don't, it's like I have to send. Well, I don't know. I mean, I can talk to them ahead of time, but a lot of times people don't want to commit for the long term on the coaching. So
They don't have to commit to long term, but they're still on monthly payment plan.
on the month, yeah, and then yeah, that's not a bad idea. That probably would make sense.
That is like a bad idea. Like, yeah, that that would drive me nuts if I was to follow up with everyone trying to collect invoices all the freaking time. Like that's such a waste of time and effort and energy for you.
But I also don't
Everyone
want to do. I also don't want to do one-on-one coaching.
Well, that's something we've been talking about for over 2 years now. Why do one-on-one? Just do group.
Yeah. So as
But
the
even with
people
group,
drop
you
off,
should only take monthly payments. Should not allow any invoicing anymore.
yeah. It's all monthly payments for the group stuff, for the Well program, which is basically the group coaching. But yeah, I'm I'm wanting to get out of that, or really, basically raise the prices up so that my one-on-one coaching is a minimum of $5,000 a month, and then 5% of your business, basically of what of the growth of your business. So that's where I would like to get to, because then it's worth my time. Otherwise, it's not really worth my time. Plus, also examples like Gregory and Nikhil are great examples, right? Where I should have had like a 5% of their business, or 5% of the the growth in revenue, because both of those guys, I mean, Gregory built him up to like a over $2 million a year business from nothing, right? So but he's still paying me $1,500 a month, which he's gladly paying, right? So, and then Nikhil brought him from $10,000 a month to $100,000 a month, but and then he dropped me just this last month of the coaching as a coach. So, which, but it would also lock people in if I had a percentage too. So not that you really care about the monthly fee at that point. So, but anyway, so that's, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the updates for me. So I'm shifting, and plus I don't like the income, like I said, just coming from coaching. I'd rather have it coming from something that's a more repeatable, stable source. So
yeah, that's the main thing with our business too, man, is like, we don't have this back end offer set up yet. And it's just like, we have so many guys that like, we got the sell and then they kind of just, they get the result or whatever. And it's like, we're not having that reoccurring revenue. It's just like ups and downs, and it's,
Yep.
Listen.
Yeah. So what's new in your neck of the woods, Josh?
Went to dinner last night with, so Marco joined this. I don't know if you guys saw it. This guy, you guys know Iman Ghazi, right?
Yeah.
He has, you know who that is? Money. Okay. He's just like super young, successful dude. And he started off with like an ad agency and other stuff. Anyways, his good friend has a course on like networking, and that Marco joined. And he basically is like, yeah, I can connect you, because he has this like large group of like successful entrepreneurs in his program. He's like, yeah, like anyone you want to connect with in any city, like I'll reach out to those people and I'll find out who it is and I'll connect you. So he did that, and we went to this super nice restaurant with these 4 other entrepreneurs, 2 are in the e-commerce space, and then one guy, I didn't know who he was before last night, but maybe you guys heard of him. His name's Jose Pena.
Oh yeah, he does the real estate, right?
Yeah, he has. I'm not sure if he does he might do real estate, but he first got started in his Instagram branding. Like he had like Alex Becker, Dan Locke, like Alex Ramosi, they were all his clients.
I think, John,
maybe
you're
I'm
thinking Ryan Pineda.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking Ryan Pena. Yeah, you're right.
His name is Jose Pena.
Jose Pena. He's the
Are you in Miami
social
right now,
media
Josh?
Yeah.
How do you spell his last name?
Oh, you're in Brickell,
PNA.
huh?
Brickell, yeah.
Because how's the entrepreneurial vibe there?
I mean, I've only been here for, it's been less than a week, but we've only had the dinner people last night, so I'm like staying with Marco and another business owner that we know. It's good. Like it's good. It's different. Like it's my perception. It's like I went to this restaurant. It was like the most Miami restaurant you can think of. Like there was yachts on the side, like old like woman with like fake butt implants and like this like woman with facelifts, and like older dudes with like 20-year-old girls, and it's just like super
Very Miami. Yeah.
Like so stereotypical, and I was just like, yeah, okay. And last night too at the restaurant, but it's I wouldn't live here, but it's cool. But yeah, there's like a lot of crypto people here. Apparently, they have that this what do they call it? I forgot what it's called, but they have this like a festival, but it's like a business marketing kind of like 4-day event here. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, it's coming up in the end of the month. Yeah, so like there's a lot of money here. Like literally, there's a gym right behind me. It's called Elevate. I'm gonna go there right after. Right there, you guys see it?
8. Yeah.
It's a really famous gym, and there's like lots of Lamborghinis and Rolls Royces there. There's a lot of money here. But yeah, so like I was talking to them last night, and like they had some good insights on things. But Josue, he was like, dude, he was like, I'm doing live webinars, and live webinars are back. He's like, you got to do them. And then John, you said that you did the live webinar, so I was like, fuck, like that's 2 people like talking about it now. So I just it's sad.
Why did he say that live webinars are back? Like, what's his reasoning there?
A couple mentors told him that, and he said that people really want authenticity more than ever now, right? And he goes like,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like the realness, and I can look for high, confirmation bias, but I can find plenty of examples of people winning who are like being more real and authentic and person-to-person connection. And I think that's obviously why sales people, can close you so much higher, because it's like you're talking to an actual person. And yeah, I don't know. I know nothing about doing live webinars, so it's just like a huge hurdle and a big gamble. And I don't know, maybe I can talk to you more about it, John, but I don't even know like if it'd be worth it. And like we would definitely, and would it lead to just a sales call, or would it actually be I don't know. So
have you ever done a webinar?
I've done automated webinars.
No, but it's the same script. You can just do it.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I make a lot of mistakes when I record. So
yeah, but those are all like, nobody cares about those mistakes when you're doing like live, because you're not really making those mistakes, because you're so much flying and people, like, whatever you say doesn't like, yeah, no, live is definitely, you're going to make mistakes, but nobody cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in my mind. I'm not gonna take action on it right now because there's, I don't know. Whether, yeah. I don't even know like what I would even sell was like, would it go to the sales page, like and then like acquiring those leads, like it's just email lists, is it like, do we like do outreach, do we run ads for the webinar, like?
Well, if you want to test it, just send an email to a landing page to register for the webinar for next week or whatever, 10 days, 20 days. And
I'd
then
have to create the webinar first, which would take.
you have a webinar, right?
I have a dating and quitting porn webinar. We haven't made a yeah, that's not true. I do have the VSL, you're right. It's a little different. We have to change some things, I think.
But here's the thing though, I don't think the webinar makes sense for you at all, right? Because your problem is not having a what would I say? It's like a efficient way to close leads. You already have an efficient way to close leads. You have sales guys, you have the sales team set up, you can close leads on the phone. So your problem is getting leads. Webinar doesn't solve that problem.
Right.
Is that true though?
Yeah, it is true. It's 100% true.
If they're not educated completely on the solution, then they're not really they're gonna be more expensive calls.
Yeah, but the thing is it's like, this is not a high level education thing. It's not selling an opportunity. It's selling like an immediate, it's an aspirin for a toothache is what Josh is selling.
But it's still an expensive aspirin for an expensive toothache, right? So the more expensive it gets, the more trust you build, the cheaper the cost of everything in the funnel.
But what does a webinar do that a sales call doesn't do? Because even if
a
a
live
sales call
webinar,
is,
when you show up live, that's like builds 1,000 times more trust than a recorded VSL.
But not than a an actual call on the phone with a salesperson.
Well, you follow it up with a sales call, so you do the best of both the worlds. You build trust on a live webinar, and then you hand them over to a sales call. So you have double the trust. Like, you're doing the best of what's possible in both. So your lead costs, your call costs, everything should be better. Not your lead costs, but your call costs and your closing costs should be much better because your trust has gone up.
But if your call costs, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like even if Josh reduces his call costs, does it really change the bottom line much, right? Because what are your call costs looking at like right now? Since last time we talked.
Anywhere from $250 to $400.
Okay, but your close rate is?
It's gone down a lot recently. Our no-show rate's up to like 35, 40%. Our closing rate's gone down to like 20%, if that. And this is all very clearly from just like the audience on Facebook versus YouTube,
Yeah.
And then we get payment plans too. So it's like literally like we're barely recouping our costs just on the call, right? For clients.
That does make a decent argument for what Manny's saying, that maybe having the webinar in front, I don't know if you can get, will you be able to get people signed up for a webinar easier? I feel like the no-show rate would be higher though than an actual book call though.
I think so.
So you might drop off too many people there.
Yeah. I don't know, the main difference here is like watching the live, when we do the live webinar versus like the pre-recorded one, like how much better would that be to get people on a call and have the right people be on the call? It would definitely be better, but like how much? And that's the question. Like,
yeah,
I don't think this could be me just like not wanting to do the work, but being honest, but like, I don't think it's worth it.
Live webinar should usually double your conversions of whatever you're doing.
Double?
Yeah.
Where do you get that number?
My own testing, my own doing of live versus recorded.
Something worth discussing.
But then the downside of it is live doesn't have the same show up rates.
Right.
They don't show up as much, right? Because
Yeah, they don't show up for live.
they can watch the pre-recorded one like that.
Exactly.
And the problem with this market, Manny, is like literally within a day or two, like something is said by the wife, and like it can shift like their motivation to get help. That's why it's like so good, important to get on the call fast, because like the guys who get sold and then like 2 days later they're like, "Oh, my wife just said this." Like if they got that message, if they weren't sold, they wouldn't have gotten the call. So that's the thing about this market too. It's like, yeah, like they're that pain period is so short where they want to take action, and then like something happens where they either give up or things go back to normal. But in the wife's mind, it's not normal. But the guys think like, oh, she's cool now. She's being like, she's not fighting with me anymore. I literally did a video on this, like 9
apathy. Yeah.
Wife's about to leave you, and it's like even women will have sex with their husband more right before they leave them, because it's like they're testing to see if there's any emotional connection there, or if they're sleeping with someone else. So like from if you guys read Sperm Wars, like Sperm Wars perspective, they're like, it's crazy. So in any case, yeah, this market's interesting. Like a lot, it's very like, I know with like Make Money or like even dating, it's just like there's a constant pain always there if they're not solving the problem. But with this one, it's just like,
I mean, that would be kind of interesting though. I mean, I don't know what your marketing message looks like on Facebook, but what if your marketing message was to get people on a webinar to like preemptively, right? It's like, what if you did a webinar that was like 3 absolute signs that you're headed for a divorce, that your wife is secretly planning.
Also, like, go after the guys who are not at that huge pain point, like, so like the different awareness level.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, that'd be interesting, because that's a pretty good hook. If you did like 3 absolute signs that your wife is secretly plotting a divorce, there are a lot of people that would jump on there just out of curiosity, and a lot of them are already like those what you come up with, they're gonna realize that does apply to them. And they might be like 6 months, a year away from it. Or even if they're not, like, even if that's not going to necessarily happen, they're like, they still might have a messed up relationship with which your program is going to help them with anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
let me write that down.
That might be a cheaper.
You said three hidden signs your wife's secretly plotting divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can test it with a YouTube video first.
Yeah. You might be able to even, I wonder if that you could run those ads on YouTube without the keywords, or different keywords too, that, because you're not.
We can't even target like the keyword marriage counseling. Like,
yeah.
Anyways, anything else for me? No, just same stuff as last week. Like we're doing pretty good in revenue actually, but I mean our ad cost has doubled. So
can anyone target marriage counseling on YouTube?
I mean, right now you technically still can until the 1st, but like we've seen the numbers now, and it's just like they've clearly changed right now already. And
but nobody could target that. Like at that point, it won't be a key.
Turn off no keywords. There's something called segments where you can batch a bunch of, like, I watched this video on some research. Like I watched this video where someone's like, you can batch a bunch of keywords together, and YouTube will kind of like get an idea, and it was really weird. But no, you can't do individual keywords as like someone that one keyword and you can't target them.
Interesting, huh? And no one can, not even if you're just a straight up marriage counseling service.
Like Marco sent me the screenshot. Like I think it's specifically in situations that are considered like predatory. So when people are in an emotional volatile state. Right. So like, I think even like weight loss is going to take a hit. Like anyone who's searching certain keywords for weight loss.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Because I would think that like if you're just straight up, all you did was marriage counseling, you should be able to target marriage counseling keyword. But
yeah, we were thinking that, like, yeah, like doing a new angle of like targeting. But like the thing about that is like, yeah, we have to really scare these guys, because like a lot of men won't seek help until it's too late.
Yeah.
What we're finding. But also, I met up with one of my clients here in Miami. He's a lawyer, and he was telling me about like I should like there's certain corporations that like have someone in the corporation that isn't like a therapist, but it's like if someone comes to them with their problems, they'll say like, oh, they'll refer out to resources. And so like Qualcomm, for example, right, they have a bunch of engineers. And so like if I can find the right person who's in that position and it's like, hey, I have this program helping men save their marriage. And like, so like any person that comes to her is like, hey, my marriage is falling apart, it's affecting my work performance, she would always refer that person to us as a lead source. So I'm gonna look into that. That could be a potential.
Yeah, that could be
You guys know
huge.
anyone
Good
from Qualcomm that I can start?
Yeah, I wish I could get my stuff into Qualcomm.
I know, right? Or in Google, that'd be sick.
I
But
used
if
to
you
work
could-
at Qualcomm.
Yeah.
But if you could do that once, you could repeat that over and over again. So
Yeah, it's got right. It's just about finding the right person, you know.
yeah.
Easier said than done, but yeah, if it's like if it's a woman, maybe I'll seduce her. Okay. I mean, I think is there anything else for me? No, I'm gonna just trying to figure out just make YouTube even better and better. Seen some decent growth, but not many like leads coming in. So I don't know. Just trying to make the best videos I possibly can, you know. Other than that. All you Manny.
Okay, so I was talking to one of my friends. He's been doing webinars for a long time now. Shared some really interesting data that got me thinking about everything we're doing. I was looking at his spreadsheets month after month after month, and one thing he showed me was like blew my mind. He was like, they were offering the product $9.97 per year. Then they changed the webinar a little bit, but more importantly, they changed the offer. Went from $9.97 a year to $1,497 for 6 months, and their conversions didn't change one bit. That's triple the price.
Oh, they went from $9.97 a year to $1,497 for 6 months.
Yeah,
And their conversions didn't change.
same.
Interesting. So they
I was like,
tripled the
what?
price.
Triple the price.
I mean, that's, you know, I think, I mean, that's not complete, like price to volume ratio is not a fixed thing, right? It's there is like a weird curve to that. So
Yeah, I mean, and that discussion like totally blew my mind when I was sitting there talking to him. I was like, this does not make any sense. This does not make any sense. This does not make any sense. Like, I'm sitting there pulling my hair out.
yeah, well, in
This is
something
it.
like that, like price is an arbitrary thing, right? It's very arbitrary, right? If you're like selling an iPhone, price is not arbitrary, right? Like people know what an iPhone's worth, right? Anything that they don't know what it's worth, that they can't compare it against, that doesn't have a solid price anchor, it's just arbitrary. You know, what are you paying for? You know, is this thing worth $2,000 or worth $10,000? I don't know. It doesn't. You know, it's
It's the perception, the
Yeah.
value you create in the mind of the buyer that really is
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that kind of goes to show how much elasticity there is in the market for
Yeah.
price variations and for us to operate at different or test different price points and see what really is working rather than make assumptions and stick with them for long periods of time. So
It also depends on who you're selling to, right? This is a huge one, right? If you're selling to businesses, right? Let's say you're selling to businesses that are over $3 million a year in revenue, then you know the difference between, let's say, a 2K price point and a 5K price point is nothing. It's not even like, so you could be having conversion rate at 2K and then raise it to 5K and it'd be exactly the same because it makes no difference at all, right? If you're selling to, you know, someone making 60K a year, the difference between $1,000 and for a year and 1,500 for 6 months is probably going to be big.
okay, so maybe the other, like maybe, I don't know yet, depends on how the perception is created in their mind. The other could be $1,000 for a year versus $1,000 for 6 months. Would that really change much? Right? It's just like that. Like people don't always calculate like monthly cost. They're thinking, okay, $1,000 to get some value for me. So it's really interesting. Like I'm interested to see the price testing, see what comes out. So I'm rolling out some more price testing on the webinar, see what happens with that. Another thing I was considering was how quickly can we escalate people or ascend people from Focus Blocks into Quantum Leap. And then I got thinking, how about we just offer a month of Quantum Leap as a bonus when they sign up for Focus Blocks. And then as I was going through this whole process, like I've been like on trying to evaluate, okay, should I go that? Should I not do that? Because there's so many different ways to skin the cat. Someone was telling me like the simplest path to CRO, conversion rate optimization, is to cut the number of steps. So if you cut the number of steps, like going from Focus Blocks to Quantum Leap, instead of getting them to come back to watch a Quantum Leap webinar and then sign up, what all can we do to cut the steps?
Mhm.
I mean, at the end of your Focus Block session, you can advertise Quantum Leap.
Which we do at times. But that is not always as good as like someone who's already indoctrinated into it when they get onboarded for Focus Blocks, and we say, by the way, you also get 1 month of Quantum Leap, make sure to watch this training, and then you have a separate onboarding call for Quantum Leap. They get a different experience compared to just go watch this webinar, then book a call, and then we'll sell you on it. It's a different experience.
You may be giving them too much though, if
Yeah.
you do that all at one time. That would be my biggest fear, is that, like, well, for example, I signed up for Mindvalley last week, right? About the year subscription. And I have the emails still sitting in my inbox, so I haven't had a chance to even look at it yet. I want to eventually do like a 20 minutes per day type of thing on there, but I just haven't had the time to even look at it yet. So if they send me more stuff that I got in, it would overwhelm me more.
Yeah, so maybe we don't include it in that bonus. Maybe what we do is in the Focus Blocks onboarding call, we try to sell them into Quantum Leap, because now we've seen this repeatedly. We get much better customers when they come in through Focus Blocks and then go to Quantum Leap than if they come to Quantum Leap and then try to come to Focus Blocks. Like results people get from Focus Blocks are instantaneous. You literally see results in an hour. So like it's not like 7 days or 10 days or 15 days. It's right away. In first block, you'll see the results. So then they're believers. And the most common thing I see with Focus Blocks, what happens is people are like, if Focus Blocks is so good, then whatever you have next is definitely going to be so effective. So they're believers, and now it's easier to sell them on the next thing if I get the opportunity to do that. But if they come into Quantum Leap, then selling them into Focus Blocks is a little bit of a hassle. Because they're like, well, this is already like the thing, so I don't know yet. Let me try it out. Let me work on it for a month, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm trying to do is, as soon as someone comes from an ad to a Focus Block customer, how can we quickly put them in the Quantum Leap funnel if they're qualified? Whether it's funnel or even on the sales call, like even the onboarding call, we're like, okay, I think you're the right candidate for Quantum Leap, and here's how it works, without sounding salesy, without being like, oh, this was an onboarding call, but it's actually a sales call. Like, how do you structure that kind of conversation? How do you make people feel good about their purchase while also telling them that there's something more valuable for them?
I mean, what do they, after they make these leaps and bounds with Focus Blocks, like what do they want next in their life? Is there a common pattern with like the next step they want to take? It's just like more productivity, more.
So the difference between Focus Blocks and Quantum Leap is Focus Blocks is like tactical in the sense you will become much more focused and productive on an hour-to-hour basis, on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly. So you will get more shit done. You will literally double your output, and that's just consistently across the board. As our tagline says, double your weekly output with zero extra effort on your part. That happens consistently. The difference is when you double your output, it's not always that you're doing the right things.
Right.
You're not focused on the right things. You're not always hunting down the biggest goal. You're not always achieving the biggest things because you're just doing more of whatever you know you should do, you think you should do. Quantum Leap changes that because Quantum Leap focuses them on their big goal and helps them increase their more strategic execution rather than tactical day-to-day, hour-to-hour productivity.
Mm-hmm.
So if Focus Blocks is like hour-to-hour productivity, Quantum Leap is strategic. How can we accelerate your goal achievement? Not just by improving your productivity, but by getting you to do the right things.
Mm-hmm.
So Focus Blocks will help you do things really fast, but Quantum Leap will help you do the right things. So the combination of doing things really fast and then making sure you're also doing the right things, that amplifies results.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it kind of like a furniture salesman, right? You ever buy furniture, then they're like, all right, now let's go look at the mattresses, right? They're like, oh, you don't have to buy a mattress from us, but let's just go check them out and just go see real quick here, the mattresses, right? So you can basically, show them, all right, here you've got the Focus Box, but let's take a look at something else. You don't have to buy this, but this is what a lot of our Focus Blocks users are using in order to help them to make sure that they're doing the right things now that you've got the ability to focus, right? So you just sort of move them in that direction, just show them that, as opposed to making it just a straight up sales call, like you transition into that just naturally, just like this is what a lot of people are using to take the next step, right? I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal if you onboard them and then show them what else they can have.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like, I don't know if you've done this, Manny, but like, I kind of like wish I knew the progression before I recorded the original courses that I have. Cause then it's like, I could have dropped hints along each of the videos of like the new problem, the next echelon, right? And then like, it would have been so obvious for them to just be like, oh crap, I do need this by the end.
Yeah. Well, that's once they are inside the course. And now my question is, can we actually do it right at the time of them onboarding, where sometimes they got on the onboarding call and they've already done like 2 or 3 days of Focus Blocks. So they're already like converts. They're like, this stuff works.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Right.
ready for the next thing. Sometimes they haven't yet done it. So then they're not yet ready. So then the onboarding call is kind of not hard to be a pitch per se. So I'm like trying to devise a system that makes it easier for us to pitch everyone on Quantum Leap.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who buys Focus Blocks gets a Quantum Leap, like as long as they're qualified, because there's a bunch of them that are not qualified and there's no use pitching to them. As long as they're qualified, we get after them and we say, okay, you need the next thing to help your result,
Right.
increase your results.
Right.
And what I'm trying to do is it should happen within the first 7 days, because that's when they're the hardest to be able to move or to be able to get excited and be like, okay, there's another thing that can help me even further.
Mm-hmm.
I've had like in the past, like the reason why I'm thinking about this is there are a couple of customers, the way it happened was we would be on some sort of a productivity call. I'd run these live weekly calls, coaching calls. And one of the customers was like, Focus Blocks customer is like, I love Focus Blocks, man. So what do you have next for me?
Yeah.
And that's when it was like, oh, they're already looking before I even I was thinking, oh, I'm trying to sell them something, but they're already thinking about that. And I need to be prepared way before they're prepared for that. Before they're thinking, because they're already ready for that.
Yeah.
But how do we frame this conversation so that it comes across smooth and not like aggressive? and not they're like, oh man, let me just try this thing before I go into that thing, because that can be a problem too.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because this is like the best situation. Like we acquired Focus Blocks for customers who are $350, $400 right now CPA.
Yeah.
So think of it as like a $400 call for me.
Yeah.
Right. So if I can have $400 calls of people who have paid me to show up on calls, we can do a lot of fun stuff with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see much of a problem. I think you just pitch them in the onboarding, right?
I don't know if I can
You
directly
can
just
be really
pitch
candid.
them.
You can be really candid with them, Manny. Like if you give them so much value through Focus Blocks already, and they should be honest with you. It's like if they say no, it's like, okay, cool, no problem. Like, can you tell me like what's preventing you from moving forward with this? And you just get like customer feedback, and then you can address those biggest obstacles or add parts of the service that maybe they wanted, and it's just like you constantly improve.
Well, they haven't gotten results from Focus Blocks because they've
Not
just signed
always.
on.
Some are, some haven't. So that's like a variable. Because what happens with as soon as they buy Focus Block, they have an onboarding call. And when they jump on the onboarding call, it's like they have to schedule an onboarding call, which can be 2 or 3 days out.
Right.
But in that 2 or 3 day period, some of them already use Focus Blocks. So they've already gotten the results. They're already happy. They're already satisfied. They're already customers. Like they're already like satiated. Some haven't yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the ones that have, obviously, you can do what Josh is saying. If they haven't, then you can just sell it as, here's something that's going to help you even more, right? Because and you can just talk about like this is how you use Focus Blocks. Now, I mean, the obvious problem. Well, I think the easiest transition is to say now that you know how important focus is and you've got a solution for that. The big question is, are you focusing on the right things? And then see what they say about that, and just ask them, do you ever struggle with knowing what to focus on or having too many things to focus on and not having a clear direction of what you should be accomplishing? Because you can be as productive as possible. Productivity isn't the goal, efficiency is. So
Effectiveness is.
Effectiveness.
Efficiency is not effectiveness. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just transition it right into there.
I'm just taking a little note here. Yeah. By the way, I collected some data that I think, John, because you're in the membership game, you might find interesting. So we have, over the last month and a half, we had like 60-40 split between people who paid for 6 months to either monthly or 6 months. All of the 6 months, like 90% of 6 months will book their onboarding call, show for onboarding call, and have done Focus Blocks within the first week. 90% of the monthlies do not show up for their onboarding call, do not do Focus Blocks, have failed rebuilds, failed payments, and cancellations. 6 months are like all are like on it every single time. Rarely do 6 months have problems with cancellations, with refunds, with like not getting value from the product. And monthlies are all like just so bad. It's just drastic.
Yeah.
And that got me thinking we have to shut down monthly. We should not offer monthly at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just saw
drastic.
that example with, like I said, I just signed up for Mindvalley, and what is their monthly? Their monthly is $99 a month. Their yearly is like what, $500? I think it was
like half. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly they want you to, because I would have signed up for monthly, right? But I was like, well, that's stupid. Like, I'll just try it for a year instead of try it for a month.
Yeah. That's like, It's like by forcing them to sign up for 6 monthly, I've improved the quality of the customers, how I feel about it, because they're
Yeah.
more dedicated. They're more like, I'm going to do this, not just, I don't care.
Yeah.
But earlier, here's the funny part. With the webinar, I can actually convince them to sell on 6 months. But when I had a sales page, I couldn't convince them to sell on 6 month or annual, very rarely. So they would all come in on monthly, and then we would have 50% drop off right off the bat in the first month. They wouldn't even convert. So monthlies were always like real laggards. They were always stragglers.
Yeah.
Because the investment on their part is so low that they're not going to use the product. Like in $100 million offers, Alex Hormozi talks about this, that if your product involves a transformation, it is your job to make them pay higher so they will actually use the product to do the transformation. Oh.
The only problem is, and the only reason why I really offered monthly and pushed monthly as opposed to yearly was because, and I mean, I don't know if it's as much of a problem as what I'm thinking, but the renewal rate, right? Because if you have people in the monthly payment, it's a small chunk that's coming out every single month. Once they get on the payment, they get used to that payment, which is fine. Most people just ignore that, let that go. But when you have someone on yearly and then the renewal for the yearly comes up, that's a big payment and that's a big reevaluation decision. That's the only thing. Like, how do you get around that?
So typical industry standards, monthlies will stay for 6 months, annual will stay for 2 years.
So they'll renew one time on average.
Average, yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you look at those numbers, if the numbers work out to that, then annual is way ahead in terms of LTV. But
the question is, can you convince them to get to annual?
Yeah.
Yeah, really interesting data, man. Data is like crazy. Data tells a completely different story compared to what I would think in my head. Like, oh, this is obvious. If I offer half the price, we should have double the customers. No, you don't. You have the same number of customers.
Yeah. I think a lot of it too is like knowing how the certain customers spend money, right? Like, I think someone who has more money, John, like yourself, and I'm the same way. Like, if I look at something I want to buy that's either monthly subscription or yearly, it's like, if I'm going to do something, I might as well just like do it for the whole year. Cause like that extra amount of money. Cause like someone who has less money, they're like, oh, I'm gonna try for a couple months and I'll definitely, unsubscribe if I don't like it. For us, like the hassle of unsubscribing for $100 a month, it's almost like, oh, I don't want to have to go in there and unsubscribe. And like $100 is almost like nothing of that process of unsubscribing. So I might as well just do the whole year. Right. And so, yeah, like I think knowing your customer and how they spend money too is like knowing how to set up the monthly versus the yearly and like the cost difference and what that would mean for that person and how much income they have. Like the example you gave, 2K versus 5K for a business owner versus someone who's making 60K per month, right? How they view money is really important too.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a meeting right now, but appreciate seeing all of you. I'll still be here next Friday as well. So we'll see you guys next Friday.
All right. See you guys.
See